Hello, gorgeous. My name is Gia. I'm an etiquette consultant based here in Los Angeles, and I'm making a very special video on things people don't tell you about being married as it is wedding season, lies people told you, and a lot of the people who aren't married will give the most advice on being married. I don't know why. It's like when people who don't have kids give you parenting advice and you're like, make it stop. People I know who are married, however, who are happily married, I should emphasize, because a lot of people who are married really are happy, but they could not put into words exactly what it was because they couldn't hit it on the head. They probably never thought about it this way, so I'm going to divulge with you today. And number one is everything everyone told you about your problems not going away when you're married is wrong. Having problems is a mindset. One time I had this accident where I was hit by a door and I was bleeding. My chest was bloody. I went to the doctor and the doctor said, "You're fine, you're just bleeding externally. There's nothing inside that's going wrong. You're okay." The week before that, I remember after that sense of relief, I immediately felt, phew, I am so glad I have my health. And I was happy. The week before that, I was perfectly healthy, but in my mind, I had all of these issues and all of these problems thinking I have the world on my shoulders right now. Being happy is completely a mindset. You could be perfectly healthy and then everything is wrong up here. People are lying to you or they did not marry the right person, or they didn't understand their situation from the bigger picture, or they're unhappy people in general. So sometimes people live their lives with their eyes closed. There are a lot of reasons people can say that your problems do not go away when you're happy. I remember some 40-year-old guy who was single when I was 18 said, your problems don't go away when you're married. So when you get married, you have a completely different mindset. You are inspired. You are in love. You are ready to take on the world. You're walking on clouds and no one can stop you. You have a completely new mindset when handling these small things that once seemed like monumental issues in your life. Someone is there to hold your hand through it. You also hold yourself more accountable and want to be the best version of yourself in front of this person. It really does make things better. There's also a behavioral conjecture tested in clinical trials showing that people can't hide anything after knowing each other for 2 years. That's the time people decide to give up any acts that they've been holding up or trying to present, at least if they're not psychotic or manipulative deliberately, simply because they grow and they get tired of their own childishness, which is absolutely a good thing. My husband gave me a more digestible way to handle my problems, break situations down to reverse engineer them to make them easier to solve. My husband sat me down and said, here's what we do. This is the plan. We'll work backwards from there. He makes me realize, oh, it's easier if I take a breath and apply this stripped down, simple version of this knowledge. Number two, it can be stressful if you haven't figured out who you are yourself and are still growing as an adult or individual. If you're watching this and you're married young, it's going to be even more of a journey. Humans are meant to change over the course of time, and that's okay. It's a sign of growth, and sometimes we outgrow people, so don't feel guilty about it. Sometimes people come for a season, sometimes people come for a lesson. There's also a lot of people who are still 44 years old who aren't fully grown up. Funny enough, I know them personally. Sure, they might have more experience in their lives, and some just don't absorb their experiences or learn anything from them to begin with. And when marrying the right person, they will grow with you, and or they will do the best to understand what you're going through and accept and support you no matter what. Or when you love someone, they can do no wrong in your eyes. The more they love you, the more they can be influenced by you and your growth, and that's a sign of love. I heard a quote from a little girl who said, love is when you tell a guy, I like your shirt, and he keeps wearing that shirt. He'll accept, try to understand, and listen to what you're going through. 3, being physically intimate is important. It's not everything, but it is a driving force that will keep you together for years, especially if you're young, meaning middle age or under. If you love someone in the romantic sense, you will feel passionate intrinsically and want to express it, and you want to keep it up. So it's not supposed to feel like a chore, but you want to make each other happy and you're learning new things together. 4, you won't want to compromise if you're not used to it, but you will need to. A fact of life. You're not going to be dealt the cards that you want all the time. So this is a really big one, and I never fully understood this until I married a really stubborn gentleman. And I'm more so. When dating, it was easy for me to walk away. When guys I dated showed their commitment by staying after a disagreement, I was impressed. But marriage makes it harder to leave. I heard the quote, I learned from my marriage that I didn't want to be right, I just wanted her. That quote moved mountains in me. So there's multiple ways to do this, but most of all, both of you have to make it work. You're going to fight because wires get crossed and communication gets lost sometimes. You're both busy living lives and trying to include each other as best you can. It happens. Compromising is making mutually acceptable negotiations. Negotiation is tough when you don't know where to start, and I do this for a living, so I know a lot of people are afraid to put their needs up front without seeming selfish, which is why compromise is such a weird thing to me. I always saw it this way. You want to wear blue shoes, but your partner wants you to wear brown shoes. The compromise where both of you would technically win is if you wear one brown shoe and one blue shoe. It doesn't actually work, and none of you will truly enjoy this. What you have to do is take a step back and reevaluate your long-term goal. What would make both of you happy? Truly happy in the long run? What benefits both of you? Sometimes it's a little sacrifice of being comfortable and practical in the blue shoes, but if you say yes to your partner now by wearing the uncomfortable, impractical brown shoes, you will not get an earful later or resentful, passive-aggressive encounters. And life is in the details. So do both of you win in the end if you have a little compromise or sacrifice for now? Yes, there has to be a balance of this, and it can't be one person giving up their desires to become a doormat all the time. So number 5, the reasons marriage falls apart isn't because one simple thing. So people ask the really watered down question, oversimplified question of, why did you guys break up when someone is single again? There isn't just one reason people break up unless a couple just started dating and they immediately witnessed a huge red flag, so they cut them off, which is fine. You don't want to dig into a can of worms when you don't need to. I heard a quote that women don't blow up over one simple thing. It's a buildup of little things that turn into resentment and then they explode. When it's a serious relationship, it's an accumulation of a bunch of small things happening, or it can be some small and some mighty and even exponential. You might want something specific that they just can't give you, and it presents itself in a multitude of ways. Life is how you react to things, and your relationship is just as good as your communication. It's a collection of memories of how that person makes you feel, how you make each other feel, so make every small moment count. So here are some things to think about before jumping into the fun, fabulous, huge idea of marriage. It's nice to come home to someone. It's fabulous seeing the person you love walking through the door after a long day. If you're young and you're watching this, if you're older and you're watching this, remember these things. Work on yourself first. Shape your life to be the way you already want it to be when you are married. So if you want to marry someone who works out, the person who works out is probably not going to want a slob who sits in front of the couch or in front of the TV on the couch stuffing their face with junk food. So they want someone who's their equal or better sometimes to inspire them. So what you can do now to be ready for marriage, if you want to be married, is to think as that person. Put your married shoes on as if you were already married and act as if you would be the best version of yourself. This creates habits that turn you into the person that you want to be. It creates a whole lifestyle. So you can create a list of things, individual goals. The reason goals are so difficult for people to achieve is because they are so detached from that person who has reached the goal. So like if people ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's so hard to answer because you don't see yourself that way. It's hard to imagine yourself in those shoes. You have to put in the work first to make the changes happen. You can't just expect an instant result to occur. And the more work, the more results. Action is power, not knowledge. You know everything I said in this video. You could be the smartest person in the world, but if you do nothing with it, so you technically aren't smart as the person with all the power. So make sure you live a high quality life that you're willing to present yourself with. That will attract an equal or better, because you might not see how high quality your life is now when you go on the journey of working on yourself, but someone else does, and it shows through them. We really are a reflection of who we surround ourselves with. You'll also find someone who's constantly working on themselves if you are. So I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Give this a like so more people can find this. If you want to master social graces, visit dixonetiquette.com and sign up to my free fine dining masterclass link below. Subscribe for a more elegant life. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later.